What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and it looks like Call of Duty is going in a very different direction. Tonight, we're going to be talking about not the next COD, which is BO7, and not the COD after that, which is allegedly Modern Warfare 4, but the next Call of Duty title from Sledgehammer Games, which should be releasing in 2027. Definitely stay tuned. Now, if you guys are like, wait, DK, why on earth are you talking this early about a Call of Duty that is years away? Well, just recently, a giant scoop did pop up on the internet, which I do think makes for a really cool discussion and actually lays to rest a big topic of conversation that I've been seeing for the last couple of years, which is where is Advanced Warfare 2 and are we going to get jetpacks again? Now, before we circle into that, I do want to say, what are the odds that today is the 16th anniversary of Sledgehammer Games as a studio, as pointed out by Chad, one of Sledgehammer's biggest fans. They actually saw his tribute tweet, they saw his custom Cell 3 shotgun, which he actually 3D printed. By the way, that was an absolutely phenomenal weapon from Exo Zombies way back when, but something I've also said for many years now is that Sledgehammer absolutely has potential. They've obviously gotten a lot of flack over the years. I feel like a lot of folks are constantly asking for innovation and for experiments and for risks, and I feel like Sledgehammer has taken a lot of risks, if not the most, in the last decade. I mean, think about Advanced Warfare 2014, which kickstarted the jetpack era. That was them. I mean, you look at World War II 2017, which brought us to headquarters, and unfortunately the game was a bit problematic prior to the big overhaul with the divisions that the game ended up receiving shortly after launch, and then Vanguard just didn't quite feel like the game they wanted to make, although they did clutch up some pretty good post-launch updates. Still, the game ended up getting cut off after about 5 seasons, but MW3, without going off on a tangent, absolutely set the gold standard for live service support in modern day for Call of Duty multiplayer, and I do feel like with the proper dev cycle, we're talking 3 to 4 years, Sledgehammer could cook up something pretty special. That's what we're going to be focusing on here tonight. So something that I think has been a big topic of conversation for, I want to say, the last 5-6 years is that it seems like Sledgehammer has wanted to make a sequel to Advanced Warfare, and according to the press, that's actually something that they were trying to produce, but they did not get the green light from Activision. Of course, take all rumors with a grain of salt. Who actually knows what happened behind the scenes? But what we have noticed over the last couple of years is that we've really only gotten Black Ops and Modern Warfare titles, with the exception of Vanguard, and then go back a little bit, you have World War II 2017, Infinite Warfare. You look at 2018 and onward, it's really just been Black Ops from Treyarch and Modern Warfare from Infinity Ward. What we're all hoping for, I think most of us at least, is that Sledgehammer could find out what their sub-series is going to be, instead of just leaving them to create these carry-forward sequels like with what they did in MW3. Although the content was good in that game, what if they were able to have their own sub-series, like, let's say, Advanced Warfare? So if the current schedule sticks, we know that after Black Ops 7, which apparently comes out this November, we have Infinity Ward next up in rotation in fall 2026, and the year after that should be a brand new title from Sledgehammer. Now, while I do think it wouldn't hurt to get a jetpack era game once every couple of years from Sledgehammer, it would be great if that was their thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's what's going to be happening. According to an exclusive scoop from the Ghost of Hope, again, don't take everything for certain because we are years away from the release of this game, he said COD 2027 will not be Advanced Warfare 2, unfortunately, and will be set in a completely new sub-franchise. The game itself will be set during the modern era, and while there aren't jetpacks planned, movement is apparently going to have a big focus. So to first break that down, I think my only issue with that statement is that the game is set in modern era, because the game that's coming out a year before that will also be set in the modern era, or maybe slightly futuristic. I'm talking about MW4. So it's a little unfortunate to know we're going to get a game that probably doesn't take place too far away from Infinity Ward's next entry. So that's a little underwhelming. If anything, if I had it my way, I'd say Treyarch could stick to the past, Infinity Ward the present, Sledgehammer the future. But we're not going to get everything we want, right? We at least get a futuristic title this fall with Black Ops 7, and I also don't feel like Activision wants to go down that route of jetpacks again, even though I feel like they could come up with some type of hybrid where in multiplayer there's maps set for boots on the ground, and then there could also be maps set for jetpacks. Same for Warzone, have a dedicated playlist or something. I think that would be phenomenal. Now, I'm also a little bit nervous about them starting their own sub-franchise again. I'm really hoping there's a lot of interest and faith in them doing that, but in reality, it's what they have to do. They can't keep doing carry forward sequels. They gotta find their ground somewhere, right? With their own series, their own story. They probably thought they were getting somewhere with Vanguard, but unfortunately that just wasn't well received. But I believe that was more in part because it was a World War II game, not really anything else. And with the trust they probably built from the community because of Modern Warfare 3's support, I think people will give whatever this game is a shot. The other thing that was written here is that Zombies is not currently planned for the game, but Get High is set to return. Some folks may read that and say, wait, are they already planning for post-launch support or an LTM like Get High to be in this next game? What I actually think is that because Zombies isn't planned for this title, that means a number of things, right? Treyarch may not have to come in and clutch ranked plays and Zombies for other studios' Call of Duties. That would give them uninterrupted dev time on, let's say, COD 2028, super far away, but they could actually take Get High as a formula and evolve it into the third paid mode that I do believe has immense potential. Now, I don't think Get High in its current state, or the state we last saw it in, is enough to replace a mode like Zombies, but take a look at DMZ, for example. It was free to play through Warzone for MW2, is rumored to be the new paid mode of Modern Warfare 4, so they took something that I think was pretty successful, and they're going to try to evolve it, and say, hey, now you have to pay to play DMZ, and that'll replace Zombies for MW4. I think that's kind of the route Sledgehammer's going with Get High, where they could say, hey, here's a parkour-like third game mode with tons of challenges, tons of rewards, plenty of healthy updates throughout 6 seasons, more maps, more surprises, possibly even events. I think that's likely the route they're going to go with this. Who's to say they can't implement some mini Zombies mode into this as well, where it's like parkour zombies or something. I'm curious to see what Sledgehammer will do with this, but I know a lot of folks will say, hey, hold on a second, that would mean a 2-year break from Zombies as we know it. To me, I think that's a good thing, because even if Black Ops 7 Zombies is the greatest mode ever of all time, I don't think it's smart to force other studios to have to do Zombies or pull Treyarch from their own development and have them work on a side Zombies mode for a different Call of Duty under Infinity Ward or under Sledgehammer. I do feel like it's time, finally, for every studio to figure out what their main third mode is going to be. Infinity Ward, I believe, has figured it out with DMZ. Sledgehammer, I do think, has all the ingredients for truly a remarkable third game mode that could be very different from anything we've seen before, and that's going to be the next generation of this Get High experience. I almost feel like Get High in Modern Warfare 3 was purposely an experiment to see the reception to it so that they could see what steps they're then going to take to possibly implement this as the big third mode of whatever their game is in 2027. Again, I'm not saying that this mode as of now is enough to quote-unquote compete with Zombies, but the foundation is absolutely there. Now, the last part of this scoop, which has also been controversial, is when Hope says there may be a focus on martial arts within the gameplay with karate kicks and karate chops as examples. It is totally unclear what this actually means, but I do believe this will be the next step in evolving combat in Melee, which, funny enough, the jetpack era also did, where instead of panic knifing, you were kind of using your gun and gun butting people and kind of punching people. That was something that we hadn't seen previously and kind of evolved how Melee worked in COD, so that could be what this is. I mean, with the earlier rumor that this game will have a focus on movement, I'm curious to see how different classes, different operators, or whatever could actually impact what attacks you can do. And what comes to mind right away is Challenge Shuffle, with the different attacks you were able to actually unlock while playing that Zombies map. But as I said earlier, this game is years away. So many things could be written down on paper, could be getting tested, that can easily be modified or scrapped completely over the next 24 months. So definitely don't jump the gun and freak out over what sounds like a very bizarre idea on paper, which I do feel like Sledgehammer is probably going to cook up and surprise everybody with in a couple of years' time. And I'm sure a lot of things will begin to make sense once we get closer to that title. Either way, we still don't even have a reveal for Black Ops 7 yet, so it's always funny to look back at a video made a couple of years ago to see what the wild rumors were, to see how they end up fleshing out. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the very different direction that Call of Duty is clearly going in with Sledgehammer's next entry? I mean, it's clearly a fresh start for Sledgehammer, which I do believe they deserve after a full 3-4 year dev cycle. So I'm optimistic about what they could be cooking that is very different from either Black Ops or Modern Warfare. With that being said, really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.